How you going, brothers? Currently in the middle of a road where I shouldn't be giving way to a bunch of traffic. Here we go, we're good. That's why I'm not looking at the camera. When we get hurt in life, we have a choice of two things to do. And when I say hurt, it could be emotionally, it could be mentally, it could be physically. You might have a tooth removed at the dentist, or you might have your legs removed. Whatever it is, it's a trauma. And the same applies to emotional things. You lose someone you love. We're all having these horrible things. Your dog dies. But when these things happen to us, we have two choices to make. We can become a victim and go through our lives going, oh, this, I can't do that because that happened to me. I was dropped on my head when I was a baby. That's why I'm like I am. We can make excuses, or we can learn from it and become wise. We can turn it around and gain something from it. I talked to a woman yesterday, and she said her and her siblings, there's four siblings, they're all raised in the same family. Two became alcoholics and have terrible lives, and the other two learnt from their bad upbringing and shaped themselves to become amazing people. There's a lesson in that. So when you look back on your life and you look at where you are today is based on all the things that you've accumulated, you've learnt, and either you are a victim or you're a wise person that uses that to better yourself. The people that are wise all have one thing in common. They seem to be more programmed to be optimistic and pessimistic, but they also have a lot of self-discipline, and they discipline themselves to override it all the time, and that's the choice. So pretty much you get in this stage in your life. Now, I talked to my son about something else that goes on which is related to this, and that is, I call it dopamine mining. It's where you're trying to get that buzz all the time. And one of the reasons people try to get that buzz all the time, and I'm guilty of having done it myself in earlier life, is you're trying to distract yourself from this uncomfortable feeling or things you don't want to look at. It could be you've got addiction to something, or it could be that there's a dark thought. For me, it definitely had a lot to do with my childhood and trying to not deal with those problems. But what we tend to do is what I call mining for dopamine. For me, it was always excessive everything, excessive drugs, excessive alcohol, excessive sex, excessive work was my biggest one. I worked myself to the bone to ignore what really need to be looked at. The conversations that need to be had with certain people, the things that need to be dealt with, the things that I didn't want to deal with because they were too painful. So I was mining dopamine. The battery ran out halfway through that conversation. Look at those fingernails. I've been working on the boat, and thank you very much for everybody who's been helping me with the boat. I want to carry this conversation on from what I was talking about. Dopamine is what we have in our bodies that makes us feel good. That's where the word dope comes from. We naturally produce it in small amounts to keep us engaged in life, interested, motivated, feeling good. And we all want more of that feeling. The thing is, there's only so much that you can have, and when you go really high with it, you go in depletion the next day or a time later. So you have a big binge and you're on a big high, yeah, and doing all that shit, and then you suddenly stop. After a while, your levels drop right down low and you can feel very low. And that's not just that, it could be jumping out of airplanes, skydiving, could be having gambling and having a whole lot of wins, could be excessive alcohol, excessive eating, could be excessive sex, could be any number of things. And I'm guilty of a lot of those things in my past to try and get that buzz. But it also forms as a distraction from things you need to deal with. As I previously said, that conversation you need to have with somebody, that thing you need to look at and work through, that thing you need to accept about yourself, which is not nice, and so you can move forward. Otherwise, your future gets robbed from you because you're still caught up in your past. And these distractions become often addictions. It could be just excessive eating all the time to try and get through that day. I have a friend who's diabetic type 2. He's become that. I warned him of this, and now he's stuffing chocolate fish into his mouth and stuff all the time, and trying to tell me that that's not causing his diabetes type 2. This is a form of addiction, and no matter what you say to that person, they won't hear you. They'll find 1,000 reasons why it's okay. They'll bring science to the table and say, this is why I'm doing it, just to convince themselves because they're addicted to that particular habit, which is detrimental to their health. It could be cigarette smoking. It could be going for a run and doing like excessive amount of running where you're destroying your joints and you're causing oxidation inside your body to the point you're actually going against your health. There's any number of things you could be doing because you're trying to get away from that feeling inside that's uncomfortable, that you need to investigate and accept and become comfortable with and be content. And it could be the worst thing in the world. It could be something that's happened that's really traumatic in your past. People that don't embrace that and move forward often become victims because they A, don't look at it, and B, they do all these things to themselves which are detrimental to their health, and then they get to my age and guess what? They've got cancer, or they've got diabetes type 2, or they've got obesity, or they've got heart disease because they've just constantly bombarded their body with something. So today, this bro check video is to check yourself and look deep within yourself if you have the balls to, and I say that because it takes balls. Not everybody wants to. A lot of people would have already switched off this video by now and gone, nah, that's bullshit, because it's pressed the button inside themselves. There's something that they don't want to look at, and I totally get that. Fuck, I get that. I get that. There's things I don't want to look at still, like the bloody boat I'm having to work on every day right now that'll sink and deteriorate if I don't work on it. Hence the dirty fingernails, because I've got to go back out and change another belt on it. Bought the wrong size belt for it, so I'm going to go to Repco and get another one. I don't want to do all this, but I got to, because otherwise the boat will deteriorate and sink, and you will deteriorate and sink too if you don't look at those same things. That's kind of a way I could put it in terms. I don't expect this will be a very popular video for that matter actually, but we're looking at the hard stuff in the Bro Check channel. That's today's Bro Check video. Sorry it's a bit disjointed. Hope it makes sense. Have a smashing good day. I'm off to Repco to go and buy the right size belt for my boat and carry on with that job, which I'm enjoying, but I'm not enjoying, if that makes any sense. Go steady. See you in the next video.